billionaire CEO saved a single dad's dying daughter just to get her pregnant then. Marcus knelt on the cold marble floor of Victoria Ashford's office, his worn work boots squeaking against the polished surface. The yellow cleaning gloves on his hands felt like symbols of everything that separated him from the woman sitting before him: wealth, power, and his daughter's only chance at survival. "Please," he whispered, his voice cracking. "Lily is only 7 years old. The experimental treatment in Switzerland, it's her last hope." Victoria crossed her legs, her designer heel catching the light from the golden fixtures behind her. She'd built Ashford Enterprises from nothing, becoming one of the youngest billionaire CEOs in the country. She was beautiful, calculating, and utterly untouchable, and she was his only option. "Mr. Chen," she said, her tone clinical, "you're asking me for $2 million. You're a janitor in my building. Why would I possibly agree to this?" Marcus swallowed hard. He'd rehearsed this moment 1,000 times during sleepless nights at Lily's hospital bedside. "Because I'll do anything. I'll sign any contract, work for you for free for the rest of my life. Anything?" Victoria's green eyes sharpened with interest. "Anything." She stood, walking to the window that overlooked the city. Her reflection in the glass revealed a slight smile. "I have a proposal. I'll pay for your daughter's treatment, every cent. In exchange, you'll live in my penthouse, play the role of my devoted boyfriend for exactly 1 year, and—" She paused, turning to face him. "Provide me with a child." Marcus felt the room spin. "What?" "I'm 34 years old, Mr. Chen. I've spent my entire life building an empire, and now I want an heir, someone to leave it all to. But I have no interest in the complications of a relationship or the vulnerability of love. You, however, are desperate. This is a transaction. I save your daughter's life. You give me a child. After 1 year, we part ways. You'll receive a $5 million settlement, full custody of both children, and my silence. You can't be serious. Your daughter has 3 weeks before the experimental program closes enrollment." "I'm completely serious." Marcus looked down at his hands, still wearing those ridiculous yellow gloves. He thought of Lily's pale face, her weak smile when he read her bedtime stories in the hospital. He thought of her mother, Sarah, who died in a car accident 2 years ago, making him promise to always protect their little girl. "If I say yes," he said quietly, "Lily gets the treatment immediately. I'll have my jet fueled within the hour." He closed his eyes. "Then yes. God help me, yes." 3 days later, Marcus stood in Victoria's penthouse, a sleek glass and steel paradise 50 floors above the city. Lily had been admitted to the Swiss clinic, and the doctors were already beginning treatment. For the first time in months, Marcus could breathe. Victoria emerged from her bedroom wearing a silk robe, her hair still damp from the shower. "We need to establish ground rules," she said, sitting on the white leather sofa. "Rule 1, this is purely transactional. No feelings, no expectations beyond our contract. Rule 2, in public, we're madly in love. My board has been pressuring me to settle down. They think it will make me more relatable. You'll play your part perfectly. Rule 3, once you've fulfilled your biological obligation, we maintain separate lives until the contract ends." Marcus sat across from her, feeling like a stranger in his own skin. "And what do I tell Lily?" "Tell her whatever helps her heal. Tell her I'm someone who helped us. She doesn't need to know the details." The first month was surreal. Marcus accompanied Victoria to charity galas, board meetings, and society functions. He wore tailored suits she'd purchased, learned which fork to use at 5-star restaurants, and smiled for cameras while she held his hand. At night, they returned to the penthouse as strangers, each retreating to separate rooms. But Lily was getting better. The treatment was working. Her color returned, her energy increased, and her doctors were cautiously optimistic. Marcus video called her every morning and evening, watching her smile grow stronger. It was worth every moment of this bizarre arrangement. Then came the night Victoria knocked on his door, wearing a white nightgown, her expression unreadable. "It's time," she said simply. Marcus's heart hammered. He'd known this was coming, had agreed to it, but the reality felt overwhelming. "Victoria, don't make this harder than it needs to be. You signed a contract." She was right. He had. And as they came together that night, Marcus tried to keep it mechanical, transactional, exactly what she wanted. But there was something in her eyes, a flicker of vulnerability, of loneliness, that made him wonder if the Ice Queen persona was just another kind of armor. They didn't speak about it afterward. Victoria returned to her room and life continued as before. 6 weeks later, she emerged from her bathroom holding a positive pregnancy test. "It's done," she announced. "I'll inform my board that we're expecting. You'll continue to play your role until the baby is born and the year is complete." But something changed after that. Victoria's morning sickness was brutal, and despite herself, Marcus found himself making her ginger tea, keeping crackers by her bedside, holding her hair back when she couldn't make it to the bathroom in time. She resisted his help at first, insisting she didn't need anyone. But gradually her walls began to crack. "Why are you being so kind?" she asked one evening, her hand resting on her barely visible baby bump. "I'm forcing you into this arrangement. You should hate me." Marcus handed her a cup of tea. "You saved my daughter's life. Lily's doctors say she's in full remission. Whatever else happens, you gave her a future. I could never hate you for that." Victoria's eyes glistened with unexpected tears. "Hormones," she'd claim later. "I didn't do it out of kindness. I did it because I wanted something from you." "Maybe," Marcus said gently, "but you still did it. That counts for something." As her pregnancy progressed, Marcus found himself genuinely caring for Victoria. He learned about her childhood, raised by a cold, demanding father who taught her that emotion was weakness, that vulnerability was failure. She'd built her empire as armor against a world that had never offered her softness. "I don't know how to do this," she confessed one night in her 7th month, her hand on her swollen belly. "I don't know how to be a mother. I don't know how to love someone more than I love my company." "You'll figure it out," Marcus assured her. "Love isn't something you learn from a textbook or a business plan. It just happens. Like it happened with you and Lily's mother." "Yes, Sarah was. She was everything good in the world. Losing her nearly destroyed me. The only thing that kept me going was Lily. She needed me so I couldn't fall apart." Victoria looked at him with something like admiration. "You're stronger than I am." "No," Marcus said. "I'm just a father who loves his daughter. You're about to become a mother. You'll find that strength too." When Victoria went into labor 3 weeks early, it was Marcus who rushed her to the hospital, held her hand through every contraction, and whispered encouragement when she was certain she couldn't push anymore. And when their son was born, a tiny, perfect miracle with his mother's eyes, Victoria broke down completely. "I don't deserve him," she sobbed, holding the baby against her chest. "I don't deserve any of this." "Yes, you do," Marcus said, kissing her forehead without thinking. "You deserve every bit of happiness, Victoria." Something shifted between them in that moment. The contract that had brought them together seemed suddenly absurd, a legal document trying to contain something that had grown far beyond its parameters. Over the next few months, as they cared for baby James together, Victoria transformed. She was still brilliant, still commanding in the boardroom, but she'd learned to be soft too. She'd learned that vulnerability wasn't weakness but courage. Marcus found himself falling deeper in love with her every day. The way she sang to James at 3 a.m, the way she laughed when the baby spit up on her designer blouse, the way she looked at him when she thought he wasn't watching. But the contract's end date loomed like a storm cloud. 1 year, that had been the agreement. 2 weeks before their contract expired, Marcus received a call that shattered his world. Lily had relapsed. The cancer had returned more aggressive than before, and the Swiss doctors gave her 6 months at most. Marcus collapsed in the penthouse, his phone clattering to the marble floor. Victoria found him there, trembling and broken. "What happened?" she demanded, kneeling beside him. "Lily," he choked out. "The cancer's back. They can't. There's nothing more they can do." Victoria's face went pale. She'd met Lily several times over video calls, had seen the bright, cheerful girl who drew pictures for her baby brother. There has to be something. Another treatment, another. "There's nothing," Marcus said, his voice hollow. I made a deal with the devil for nothing. I sold myself to you and she's dying anyway. The words hung in the air like poison. Victoria flinched as if he'd struck her. Is that what you think? She whispered. That you sold yourself? That I'm the devil? Marcus looked up at her, his eyes red and swollen. What else would you call it? You bought me, Victoria. You bought my body, bought a child from me, and for what? Lily's still dying. Everything I did, everything I sacrificed, it was all for nothing. Victoria stood, her hands shaking. You sacrificed? You got $2 million for your daughter's treatment. You're about to receive $5 million more, and you've lived in luxury for a year. What exactly did you sacrifice, Marcus? My dignity, he shouted, standing to face her. My self-respect. My ability to ever look my daughter in the eye and tell her I'm a good man. I let you use me like a breeding animal because I was desperate. And now she's dying anyway. Then leave. Victoria screamed back, tears streaming down her face. The contract ends in 2 weeks anyway. Take your money, take James, and leave right now. Go be with your daughter. James? Marcus's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. You're giving me James? That was the contract. Full custody of both children. He's yours. He's ours, Marcus roared. He's not a line item in a contract. He's a baby, Victoria, our son. But you can't see that, can you? All you see are transactions and agreements and business deals. Victoria's face crumpled. That's not fair. Isn't it? You bought a baby like you'd buy a new company. You bought me like I was office furniture. And now everything's falling apart. And all you can do is hide behind your precious contract. I saved your daughter's life, Victoria shouted. I gave her a year she wouldn't have had. A year where she was healthy and happy and alive. How dare you throw that in my face? A year, Marcus said bitterly. 1 year of false hope before reality came crashing down. Maybe it would have been kinder to let her go, peacefully instead of dragging out the inevitable. The words left his mouth before he could stop them. The moment he said them, he knew he'd gone too far. Victoria stared at him with an expression of pure horror. Get out, she whispered. Victoria, I didn't mean... Get out, she screamed. Get out of my home! I don't care about the contract anymore. Take the money, take everything, just leave. Marcus grabbed his jacket and stumbled toward the door. At the threshold, he turned back. Victoria stood in the middle of her perfect penthouse, holding their infant son, looking more broken than he'd ever seen her. I'm sorry, he said quietly. So am I, she replied. I'm sorry I ever met you. Marcus flew to Switzerland that night. He held Lily's frail hand and read her stories and pretended everything would be okay. But she was smart, his little girl. She saw through his lies. Daddy, she said weakly. Where's Victoria? And where's baby James? They're back home, sweetheart. Did you fight? Marcus's throat tightened. Yes. That's sad, Lily whispered. I liked her. She made you happy. She did, Marcus admitted, tears sliding down his cheeks. She really did. Lily squeezed his hand with what little strength she had left. Mommy told me once that love is the most important thing. More important than being scared or being hurt. Do you love Victoria, Daddy? Marcus thought about Victoria holding James, singing lullabies in a voice she thought no one could hear. He thought about her laugh when she finally relaxed, about the way she'd learned to ask for help, about the vulnerability she'd shown him that she'd never shown another soul. Yes, he said. I love her very much. Then you have to tell her, Lily said, before it's too late. Don't make the same mistake you made with Mommy. Marcus's blood ran cold. What do you mean? I heard you and Grandma talking once. You said you and Mommy fought the night before her accident. You said you never got to say sorry. Lily's eyes, so wise for 7 years old, met his. Don't let that happen again, Daddy. Tell Victoria you love her. Tell her while you still can. Marcus called Victoria that night, but she didn't answer. He called again and again, each call going to voicemail. Finally, he left a message. Victoria, it's me. I know you don't want to talk to me, and I don't blame you. What I said was unforgivable. But Lily wants to talk to you. She's asking for you. Please, if you won't do it for me, do it for her. 3 hours later, his phone rang. Put her on, Victoria said, her voice hoarse. Marcus held the phone to Lily's ear. He couldn't hear Victoria's side of the conversation, but he watched his daughter's face light up despite her pain. "I'm okay," Lily said softly. "Well, not really okay, but I'm not scared." "Yes. I've been thinking about baby James. Will you tell him about me when he's older?" "Good. Tell him his big sister loved him very much." "Victoria, can I ask you something?" He sounded, "Do you love my daddy?" Marcus's heart stopped. There was a long pause. "I thought so," Lily said, smiling. "He loves you too, you know. He's just scared and sad and doesn't know how to say it. No, I don't think he's too late, but you should tell him soon. Just in case." Lily's strength faded and Marcus took the phone back. For a moment, neither he nor Victoria spoke. "Marcus," Victoria finally said, her voice breaking. "I need to tell you something. The night you left, I went through all my father's old papers. I found something I should have told you months ago." "What is it?" "My father died of cancer. Pancreatic cancer, very aggressive. Before he died, he made me promise that I'd do everything in my power to fund cancer research. I've been donating to research facilities for years, but anonymously. I never told anyone because I didn't want people to know I had a weakness." Marcus's breath caught. "Victoria, when you came to me that night begging for Lily's life, I saw my father in her. I saw the scared little girl I used to be watching my father waste away. I couldn't save him, but I thought maybe I could save her. The contract, the baby, all of it, yes, I wanted an heir. But more than that, I wanted to save a little girl's life because I couldn't save my father." Tears streamed down Marcus's face. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because admitting it would mean admitting that I cared. And I'd spent so long telling myself I didn't care about anything except business." She sobbed. "But I do care, Marcus. I care about Lily. I care about James, and God help me, I care about you." "Victoria, I'm so sorry. What I said to you was said by a father watching his daughter die." "I understand, Marcus. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just heartbroken. For Lily, for you, for all of us." "I love you," Marcus said, the words tumbling out desperately. "I know I have no right to say it after everything, but I love you. Not because of the contract, not because of James, but because you're the strongest, most complicated, most beautiful person I've ever known." Victoria was silent for so long that Marcus thought she'd hung up. Finally, she spoke. "I'm getting on a plane," she said. "I'll be there in 12 hours. Victoria arrived at the Swiss hospital with James in her arms, looking exhausted and determined. When Marcus saw her, something inside him broke and healed simultaneously. They came together in the hospital corridor, holding each other and their son, crying for everything they'd lost and everything they might still have. Lily's face transformed when she saw them together. "You came," she whispered to Victoria. "Of course I came, sweetheart," Victoria said, sitting beside the bed. "I couldn't stay away from my favorite girl." For 2 weeks, Victoria stayed at the hospital. She and Marcus took turns sitting with Lily, reading her stories, talking to her about everything and nothing. They didn't discuss their relationship or the contract or what would happen next. They simply existed in the moment, treasuring every second with the little girl who'd brought them together. One evening, Lily called them both to her bedside. "I need you to promise me something," she said, her voice barely audible. "Promise me you'll be a family. You, Daddy, Victoria, and James, promise me you won't let what happened to me make you afraid to love each other." "Lily, sweetheart," Marcus began. "Promise me," Lily insisted, with the stubbornness that had carried her through so much. "Mommy would want it too. She'd want you to be happy, Daddy. She'd want James to have a mommy." Victoria took Lily's hand, tears sliding down her cheeks. "I promise," she said. "I promise we'll be a family." "I promise too," Marcus whispered. Lily smiled, looking peaceful for the first time in weeks. "Good, that makes me really happy." Lily Chen died 3 days later, on a Tuesday morning with her father, holding one hand and Victoria holding the other. She was 7 years old. The funeral was small and beautiful. Victoria arranged everything, pulling strings to have it in a garden Lily had once said looked like a fairy tale. Marcus stood at the graveside, unable to speak, unable to even cry anymore. He'd cried so much there was nothing left. Victoria spoke instead, her voice steady despite the tears. "Lily was the bravest person I ever met. She taught me that love isn't a transaction, or a contract or something you can control. It's something you give freely even when it terrifies you, especially when it terrifies you. She gave her love to everyone around her, and she made us all better for it. I didn't know her long enough, but I knew her well enough to understand that she changed my life. She gave me a family. She gave me hope. She gave me a reason to be more than just a CEO. She gave me a reason to be human. After the service, as people filtered away, Marcus and Victoria stood together at the grave. James slept in Victoria's arms, oblivious to the grief surrounding him. "What happens now?" Victoria asked quietly. Marcus looked at her, really looked at her. This woman who'd started as a stranger, become his warden, and somehow transformed into his anchor. She'd stayed with him through the worst moments of his life. She'd loved his daughter like her own. She'd kept her promise. "Now," he said, taking her hand, "we honor Lily's wish. We become a family, not because of a contract, but because I can't imagine living without you, and because James deserves parents who choose to be together." "I'm not easy to love," Victoria warned. "I'm controlling and cold and terrified of vulnerability." "I know," Marcus said. "And I'm broken and grieving and probably will be for a very long time." "We're a disaster!" "We really are," Victoria agreed. "But Lily believed in us. And if a 7-year-old girl dying of cancer could be brave enough to love, then I think we can be too." Victoria leaned her head against his shoulder. "She really was the bravest person I ever met." "She was," Marcus agreed. "And she deserves for us to be brave too." 5 years passed. Marcus stood in the garden of their home. Not Victoria's sterile penthouse, but an actual house with a yard where James could play. He was watching his son chase butterflies when Victoria came outside, carrying a tray of lemonade. "James," she called, "come drink something before you overheat." Their 5-year-old ran over, chattering excitedly about the butterfly he'd almost caught. Victoria smiled, ruffling his hair. Marcus watched them together and felt the familiar ache in his chest. The lily-shaped hole that would never fully heal. But alongside the ache was something else, gratitude. Lily had given him this. In her final days, she'd given him permission to love again, to be happy again, to build a life that honored her memory by embracing joy instead of drowning in grief. "What are you thinking about?" Victoria asked, noticing his expression. "Lily," he said honestly. "Thinking about how she'd love to see James now. How she'd probably be bossing him around and teaching him to draw." Victoria took his hand. "She can see him. I believe that. Since when does the ruthless CEO believe in heaven? Since I fell in love with a janitor, who taught me that some things are more important than logic," Victoria said, kissing him softly. "Since a little girl showed me that miracles happen. Maybe not the miracles we ask for, but miracles nonetheless." Marcus pulled her close, watching James play. Their son had Lily's smile, something that used to break Marcus's heart, but now filled it instead. Victoria had ensured that James grew up knowing about his sister, seeing her pictures, hearing stories about her bravery. "Do you ever regret it?" Marcus asked. "The way we started? The contract?" Victoria considered this. "I regret the pain. I regret that Lily didn't get her miracle. But I don't regret meeting you. Even if I could go back and change how it happened, I wouldn't. Because that contract brought you into my life. It brought Lily into my life. And they transformed me into someone capable of this." She gestured at their home, their son, their life together. "That's very philosophical for a Tuesday afternoon." "I'm allowed to be philosophical. I'm in love." Marcus laughed, something he'd once thought he'd never do again. "Yes, you are." That night after James was asleep, Marcus and Victoria stood in what they called Lily's room. It was part memorial, part guest room, filled with Lily's artwork and photos. They came here sometimes when they needed to feel close to her. "I think she'd be proud of us," Victoria said, looking at a picture of Lily in the hospital, grinning despite her illness. "I think she'd tell us we're being too sappy and to get over ourselves," Marcus countered. Victoria laughed. "You're probably right." They stood in comfortable silence, remembering the little girl who'd brought them together. The contract that started their relationship had been about desperation and transaction. But what they'd built from those ashes was something real, a love forged in tragedy but strengthened by choice. Marcus's phone buzzed with a reminder. Tomorrow was the anniversary of Lily's death. 7 years since she'd passed. They'd visit her grave, bring fresh flowers, tell her about James's latest adventures. Ready for tomorrow? Victoria asked. No, Marcus admitted, but I'll do it anyway. For her. For her, Victoria agreed. Later, lying in bed, Victoria turned to Marcus. Do you think we would have found each other without the contract? Without Lily being sick? Marcus thought about this. No. We lived in completely different worlds. You never would have noticed the janitor cleaning your building. That's sad. Maybe. Or maybe it means that even the worst circumstances can lead to something beautiful. Lily's illness brought us together. Her death taught us to appreciate what we have. I wouldn't have chosen this path, but I can't regret where it led. Victoria kissed him. I love you, Marcus Chen. I love you too, Victoria Ashford Chen. She smiled at the hyphenated name. She'd insisted on adding his name to hers after their marriage, a gesture that had shocked everyone who knew the famously independent CEO. Do you think Lily knows? Victoria whispered. That we kept our promise? Yes, Marcus said with certainty. She knows. And somewhere in whatever comes after, he believed a 7-year-old girl smiled. Epilogue. 10 years after Lily's death, Marcus and Victoria stood at the opening of the Lily Chen Foundation for Pediatric Cancer Research. They'd poured millions into the foundation, funding experimental treatments and supporting families facing impossible choices. James, now 12 years old and looking more like his sister every day, cut the ribbon alongside his parents. This is for Lily, he said to the gathered crowd, his voice steady. My sister who I never got to meet but who gave me the greatest gift. Parents who love each other and who taught me that even when life breaks you, you can choose to build something beautiful from the pieces. Marcus and Victoria held each other as their son spoke, tears streaming down their faces. The contract that brought them together had expired long ago, its terms fulfilled and discarded. What remained was something no contract could ever capture, a family built on choice, strengthened by tragedy and sustained by love. That evening at home, James asked the question he'd asked 100 times before. Tell me about Lily again. And Marcus and Victoria did, painting a picture of a brave little girl who believed in love even when life gave her every reason not to. They told him about her smile, her spirit, her final wish. She made sure you'd be born into a family, Victoria said. She made sure we'd become more than a contract. I wish I could thank her, James said. You do, Marcus assured him. Every time you're brave, every time you choose kindness, every time you love without holding back, you're thanking her. You're living the life she wanted for all of us. James smiled and went to bed. Marcus and Victoria sat on their porch watching the stars. We made it, Victoria said softly. Despite everything, we made it. We did, Marcus agreed. Lily made sure of that. And in the quiet of that night, with the foundation of their love, built on the memory of a little girl who never stopped believing in miracles, Marcus and Victoria understood the truth. Some contracts bind you, but love, real love, sets you free. Lily had given them both. The contract brought them together. Love kept them there. And that, they both agreed, was the greatest gift of all.